Hey, good morning, everybody. It is morning still. It is 10 o'clock according to my clock. And so this is my mug today. I try to have a different mug each week or each day. I have a lot of mugs. This is my left-handed mug. Warning, left-handed mug, drink from the other side. And it says, I'm a left-handed person living in a right-handed world. Anybody who knows is left-handed knows the struggle, what it means to be a left-handed person. And so when everybody's always trying to fight for the rights of righties, who's fighting for the rights of lefties is what I always ask. And so none of you care about that. But in light of the plight of the left-handed person, we're reminded of the story of Job and how Job faced great calamity. Now, over the next few weeks and on our Sundays, we're going to be going through a series on prayer. We're specifically going through the Lord's Prayer. And so I thought I'd use the theme of prayer to guide our devotions over the next while. And so first I want to look at Job. In the midst of all we're going through, I'm sure there are many people that are wondering, why are we going through this? It doesn't seem fair. Many people, it doesn't seem right. There are those that are protesting. There are those that are facing difficult situations, and they probably feel that it's undeserved, and probably is undeserved. So we turn to the story in Job, and where we see that the book of Job is a story of a man who is righteous before God. The devil comes to God and says, God, the only reason he serves you is because you protect him. And so God says, fine, see what happens. And so he allows the devil to tempt Job. And there's through a series of things, Job ends up losing everything. And he's left literally sitting in ashes. And his friends, of course, we find are very much not the most encouraging people. And again, we begin to relate to this maybe because maybe your friends aren't really encouraging in this season and you're just left wondering what has happened. I'm sure if any of us had looked 2 to 3 months ago, if this is where we would be, I'm sure none of us would have thought we'd be in this place. And so he begins to ask questions. And Job, he feels like he's faced unfair circumstances. He's beginning to ask questions. His friends are saying, well, maybe surely it's because you sinned. Maybe surely it's because you've done something wrong. And so Job begins to defend himself. He goes, listen, I've been a righteous man. I have done what God has asked me to do. And begins to even ask God, basically, why is this happening? And so in 30 chapters into this story, we begin to see that he asks these questions. And I'm sure we can all relate to this. I'm sure we can all look at Job, and while we haven't maybe lost everything, we definitely have faced a situation where we've looked to God and said, God, why has this happened? And what have I done to deserve this? Because many would argue that we haven't done anything to deserve maybe what we're going through. And not to take light of the fact that we know we aren't perfect. We know that many of us struggle with areas of sin, or we know that we haven't always done things right. But there are times where we face a situation and we go, God, why am I going through this? And so Job asked God these questions. He asked his friends these questions. And then 38 chapters in, God responds, and he starts by saying this: who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Brace yourself like a man, and I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Tell me if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what were its footings, or who laid its cornerstone? While the morning stars sang together and all the angels shouted with joy. Who shut up the sea behind the doors when it burst forth from the womb? When I made the clouds in its garment and wrapped it in the thick darkness, when I fixed limits for it and set its doors and bars in place. When I said, this far you may come and no further, here is where your proud waves will halt. Have you ever given orders to the morning, or shown the dawn its place, that it may take the earth by the edges and shake the wicked out of it? The earth takes shape like clay under a seal, and its features stand out like those of a garment. The wicked are denied their light, and their upraised arm is broken. Have you journeyed to the springs of the sea, or walked in the recesses of the deep? Have you, have the gates of death been shown to you, and have you seen the gates of the deepest darkness? Have you comprehended the vast expanses of the earth? Tell me if you know all this. And so we see that God begins to not answer Job directly, as if somehow he needed to begin to defend himself. He begins to remind Job of who he is. And so we sit in a moment and wonder where God may be. In the short season, among 1,000 seasons, we wonder if God is in control. And in a difficult situation, we wonder if God is able. And remember what God says: if I, who can hold creation in place, if I, who can go to the deepest parts of the sea and speak to them and calm them, if I have gone to the deepest depths, and if the world is able to fit in the palm of my hand, know that in this moment, that in this season, and in this situation, if I can do all of those things, if I can do all that I have spoken to, like I did to Job, then surely what you're going through is not outside my possibility and my power to take care of you and watch over you. Have a great day, guys.